Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Ken, also known as Mr. Ken Dennis. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a product review on these products by Mecca Max. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys click on the subscribe button down below and also that bell so you get notified when I have a new video up. I basically do a lot of beauty, hair, and makeup related videos, and I also vlog about my personal life. So without further ado, let's get into the video. What is up guys? So in today's video I'm going to be doing a product review on the new Mecca Max Life Proof Foundation as well as their Life Proof Concealer. Now if you guys haven't seen my first impressions video on the Mecca Max range, I'll link it on the screen and down in the description box down below. But basically I did a makeup tutorial using a lot of their products, but I didn't get a foundation, so I asked them if I could try out their foundation and their concealer, and they were so kind enough to send me the products to try out. Okay, so before we start, I wanted to let you guys know what my skin type is, what I look for in a foundation and concealer. That's how I'm going to basically be judging these foundations. Okay, so starting with my skin type, I'm 27 years old, male obviously. I do have skin textural issues. I have normal to slightly oilier skin. T-zone in particular is quite oily. Doesn't matter what I wear, it's just going to be really oily. So what do I look for in foundations? In terms of coverage, I always go for medium full coverage or full coverage foundations. I just like the look of it on my skin. In terms of undertone, I always go for a warm yellowy undertone. If not, I'll go and settle for a neutral tone. Alright, so let's move on to the demonstration of the foundation. So as you guys can see from this clip, I'm basically applying it all over my face. I've got my beard cover already there. I forgot to actually use a primer this time, and there have been days that I have forgotten to wear primer, and I have noticed a difference in the appearance and the finish of the foundation, but I'll get to that in a minute. I basically like using a beauty sponge to blend this all over my skin, and I find that 3 or 4 pumps is generally enough to give me a medium full coverage look that I'm happy with. I can go up to maybe 6 pumps or like 5 pumps, and I'll definitely get a medium full coverage that's just like super flawless. In terms of the concealer, as you guys can see, I only took out the wand and it's not really going that far. That could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you like to apply your concealer. I honestly do not mind going back into the tube to apply more, but as you guys can see, 2 coats of it is enough to brighten my under eye area and also cover my dark circles. And this is basically what the makeup looks like when everything else is done, powdered and set. As you guys can see, my skin's quite dewy. I did use a dewy makeup finishing spray by accident, but hey, I'm all about that dewy life. Alright, so I'm on the Mecca Maxima website, and as you guys can see, hopefully you guys can. So the first thing when I did see this range come out was how limited the shade range is. I mean, I know this is the first launch and there's potential for them to add more colors in the range, just depending on how successful it is. That's usually how makeup brands operate. But from what I can see, they only have 8 shades, and when I did go in store to look at them, they all pretty much ran very yellow or neutral, which is a good thing for people of color like myself, because we usually are quite yellow tone. There are a few neutral tones as well, so if you guys are into fake tanning and stuff, you guys are going to love that range because, again, very warm tone. I have got 2 shades here. I've got number 7, which is honey. I've got number 8, which is caramel. I had to mix these 2 colors together because I'm currently in between shades, and when summer hits, this is probably going to be my color. Alright, so let's look at the promises. Details. Go warrior all day at work, stay out until early hours and still look airbrushed on the trip home. The secret is in the perfect pigment to moisture care ratio that stops foundation drying, flaking out or slipping off in the heat of the moment. Trust us. You can trust this to stay put without touch-ups. This foundation for women who know there are more than 24 hours in a day if you're living your best life. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw this foundation, I thought, it's probably going to be like a natural medium foundation. Girl, no, I was so surprised when I first tried it out, and I was so impressed with the coverage. Now, if you guys are familiar with the Revlon Colorstay, the formula is quite similar but not as drying. In terms of the finish on the skin, it definitely has a matte finish. I wouldn't say a demi matte because I don't really see a lot of luminosity, but I wouldn't say it's matte that it's like really drying on the skin. So I guess if depending on what your skin type is, you can always balance that out with a facial oil, a primer. In terms of how it sits on the skin, I think it looks pretty airbrushed. I do have to say, because I am a male and I do have pores and I have some textural issues, especially around here, that I need to use a silicone-based primer just to kind of smooth it all out. Not that it clings to the textural issues, but if you're very particular of how your skin looks when you have makeup on, I'd suggest using a silicone-based primer. In terms of lasting power, Girl, this foundation surprised me. It is so good. So good. I basically work as a nurse, a cosmetic nurse, and I do a lot of like laser treatments, and sometimes the rooms when I do these treatments get really hot, and usually most foundations I find that I need to top up or just, you know, blot and, you know, reapply some powder to get some more of that coverage back by the midday. But this foundation, I kid you not, did not budge. I kid you not, it did not budge. I had a little bit of oil around the T-zone. Well, it was completely fine. I just blotted it with some tissue, and you know what? It didn't take a lot of the foundation off as well. So I was just like, wow, this foundation is so good. And this foundation is so impressive, and for the price point at $32 at the time of filming this video, that is really impressive considering most foundations at the drugstore tend to be around the same price anyway. This stuff is really good. So in terms of how much product you get 13 mils or 1 fluid ounce, I believe it is. Packaging is very nice and simple, like nothing too extravagant, but what I love about it is it's got a pump. Now, a lot of drugstore foundations don't come with a pump. So now let's move on to the concealer. So this is what the packaging looks like. Looks pretty plain and simple. The doe foot applicator on this is quite small. I don't know if it's actually really small or I'm just used to the Tarte Shape Tape doe foot applicator at this point in time. So I am in the shade number 6, which is Sand. So I did ask for a lighter shade because, as you guys know, I like highlighting underneath the eyes. In terms of coverage and application, as you guys saw from the demonstration, I think this concealer is just on the medium side. I wouldn't say it's medium full coverage. It doesn't really say what kind of coverage it has, but let's have a look at the website. So, ultra endurance yet utterly undetectable. This is the buttery or butter creamy concealer for urban skin survival. Dot it on spots like an instant blur tool that tunes out redness and soft focuses bumps. Buff and blend into T-zone for pigmentation to erase darkness without looking like you're under a mask. Perfection. The extreme wear secret is in the genius ratio of corrected pigments and cling factor. The coverage actually flexes with your face so it never cakes up or slides off. The life partner to life-proof foundation. So yeah, that's what the website says. In terms of what I think it's got medium coverage. I wouldn't say it's medium full because, as you guys saw, I had to apply a decent amount underneath the eyes just to get that amount of coverage that I'm used to. But that's not a real problem. In terms of the buttery creamy formula, I do have to admit I don't really find this concealer creases. That being said, I do use a translucent powder to lightly bake underneath my eyes using a wet sponge, so that could be it. I never wear concealer, like under eye concealer, without any powder or without setting it, so I can't personally test that out for you guys because I know I'm just gonna crease like hell. But in terms of the color range, they only have 5, and the shade, I think, wait, let's see. The shades go from 0.5, 2.5, 3.5, 6, and 9. And honestly, number 6 is the only yellowy shade that I can pull off or wear. It's not that light, but you know, it does the job. The other shades, they look like they're more on the neutral peachy tones. So depending on what skin type you are, skin tone depth, I should say, you may or may not find the right concealer for you for under eyes, but they probably will be a good one for, you know, spot treatments, as the description says. So am I a fan of the concealer? Yeah, I think it's good. I'm not super impressed by it, but it definitely does the job. In terms of price point, it's $22, which is roughly the same price for most concealers out there, and you get 3.8 grams of product. So yeah, there you guys go. That's my product review on the foundation and concealer. I honestly really like the foundation. The concealer is good as well. If you guys would like to check out these products, I'll have a link down to Mecca Maxima's website down in the description box down below. If you guys have checked out the foundation and or concealer, I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comment box down below. Don't forget to check out my other social media links on the screen and also my other videos if you guys haven't watched them already. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!